So Marcelo, I wanted you to tell our audience just a little bit about what it was that happened. What you experienced during the robbery in a city where we used to feel secure. And what is that perspective like for a person who has low vision concerning the lack of safety? How it impacts people like us even further?
I was practically in front of the regional labor court in Brasilia. And then, as I was leaving, a person approached me with a knife and demanded my cell phone. It's a feeling of being powerless and unsafe. And in our situation with visual impairment, what happens? So, when we identify something, it takes longer to identify it. And the person approaches us very closely so that we are able to identify. You have no reaction time in a situation like that. It's hard.
We should never react, right? But that's not the point. You must be thinking, oh, but robbed in Brazil. Who hasn't been robbed in Brazil? That is where the distinction lies. A person who has normal vision, they possess the capacity to recognize situations with a little more ease, with a little more distance, with a little more time. And what happens in our situation, because we have this limitation in scanning the surroundings, automatically we are more vulnerable. Whether we like it or not, we are more vulnerable. And this incident of Marcelo's robbery that happened in 2023, it placed us in an area of conflict, because increasingly with the violence in Brazil growing, we began staying home more often. We started to isolate ourselves more due to fear of certain situations, out of fear of experiencing that trauma once more. Because imagine having a knife this large pressed against your belly. How many times has he made that route with our little daughter? This kept suffocating us more and more. Why? The matter of low vision is something I constantly reiterate on this channel. It already creates a tendency toward isolation. But when you start adding a series of things, this issue of isolation, along with the security issue, along with the issue of the conditions that unfortunately Brazil doesn't even care about. There are no building codes. Sidewalks are full of holes. So anyone with difficulty tends to isolate. Why? How many times have you fallen? How many times have I fallen outside?
Exactly.
Many times.
So we have to look for ways to adapt to our limitation.
So the walking path on the streets here in the United States helps with this depth perception issue. But he walks out fine. Why? He won't find broken sidewalks. He won't face situations like calling an Uber on the street and needing to conceal the cell phone while... Why? We have to get very close to manage to read. And this in Brazil, we were on the street waiting for the Uber, feeling extremely scared, because at the same time we were trying to read the cell phone screen. We were trying to see if we wouldn't be surprised. So this was a constant feeling of panic that happened to us. And it's very sad to make this choice in order to have a better quality of life, because of lack of safety, lack of accessibility, and lack of respect. So this was one of the primary motivations that led us to make the decision to move to the United States.